Jesus, I trust in you. She was a poor Polish girl who led a Catholic spiritual initiative focused on spreading God's immense mercy. She practiced personal devotion to Christ's merciful love and lived out a call to be an apostle of mercy. This is the story of Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska, the Polish nun and mystic often called the Apostle of Divine Mercy. She was a key figure in the formation and promotion of the devotion to the Divine Mercy, which includes the chaplet and the shorter 3 o'clock prayer. She was born Helena Kowalska on the 25th of August 1905 in Głogowiec, Winczyca County, northwest of Łódź in Poland. At the age of 7, she attended the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament and, for the first time, felt a calling to a life of religious service. She wanted to enter the convent after completing her time at school, but her parents would not grant their permission. When she was 16, she supported herself and helped her parents by working as a housekeeper, first in Aleksandrów Łódzki, where she received the sacrament of confirmation, then in Łódź. In 1924, Kowalska, then 18 and a half, went with her sister to a dance in Łódź. She later said that at the dance, she had a vision of a suffering Jesus who asked her, "How long shall I put up with you, and how long will you keep putting me off?" She then went to the Łódź Cathedral, where, as she later said, Jesus instructed her to depart for Warsaw immediately and to enter a convent. She took a train for Warsaw, some 85 miles away, without asking her parents' permission, and despite the fact that she knew nobody in Warsaw, the only belongings she took were the dress that she was wearing. In 1925, Kowalska worked as a housemaid to save the money she needed, making deposits at the convent throughout the year, and was finally accepted as the Mother Superior had promised. On the 30th of April 1926, at the age of 20 years, she was clothed in the habit and received the religious name Maria Faustina of the Blessed Sacrament. Writer Richard Toretto, a noted speaker and author about the Divine Mercy, saw the name as a feminine version of the name of a Roman martyr, Faustinus, who was killed in the year 120. In 1929, she was briefly assigned as a cook in Vilnius, then a Polish city, now the capital of Lithuania. This place would later be at the center of the Divine Mercy movement. In 1930, she was transferred to the convent in Płock, Poland, for almost 2 years. When she arrived, she showed apparent signs of tuberculosis, and she was sent to rest in a nearby farm. In February 1931, when she had recovered, she returned to the convent. She later wrote that on the night of February 22, 1931, while she was in her room, Jesus appeared to her. He was wearing a white garment, with red and pale rays emanating from his heart. She wrote that Jesus told her to paint an image with the signature, "Jesus, I trust in you." She added that Jesus said, "I desire that this image be venerated, first in your chapel and then throughout the world. I promise that the soul that will venerate this image will not perish." She wrote that Jesus also told her that he wanted the Divine Mercy image to be solemnly blessed on the first Sunday after Easter Sunday. That Sunday is to be the Feast of Mercy. Since she did not know how to paint, Kowalska asked her fellow nuns in the convent, but she did not receive any assistance. Thus, it would be 3 years before the first artistic rendering of the image was produced under her direction. In November 1932, Kowalska returned to Warsaw to prepare to take her final vows as a nun, by which she would become, in perpetuity, a sister of Our Lady of Mercy. The ceremony took place on the 1st of May, 1933, in Łagiewniki. Later that month, Kowalska was transferred to Vilnius to work as the gardener, where she also grew vegetables. She would stay in Vilnius for almost 3 years. Shortly after arriving in Vilnius, Kowalska met the priest Michael Sopoćko, the newly appointed confessor to the nuns. He was also a professor of pastoral theology at Stefan Batory University, now called Vilnius University. When Kowalska went for the first time to this priest for confession, she told him that she had been conversing with Jesus, who had a plan for her. After some time, Sopoćko insisted on a complete psychiatric evaluation of Kowalska by Helena Maciejewska, a psychiatrist and a physician associated with the convent. The doctor examined Kowalska in 1933. She passed the required tests and was declared of sound mind. After this test, Sopoćko then began to have confidence in Kowalska and supported her efforts. Kowalska told Sopoćko about the Divine Mercy image, and in January 1934, Sopoćko introduced her to the artist Eugene Kazimierowski, who was also a professor at the university. In June 1934, under instructions from Kowalska and Sopoćko, Kazimierowski finished the painting. It was an image of the Divine Mercy that Kowalska saw. On April 19, 1935, Jesus told her that he wanted the Divine Mercy to be publicly honored. A week later, Sopoćko delivered the first sermon ever on the Divine Mercy, with Kowalska in attendance. 2 days later, the first Mass, during which the Divine Mercy image was displayed, occurred with Kowalska in attendance. It was also the celebration of the end of the Jubilee of the Redemption by Pope Pius XI. In September 1935, she wrote of 2 visions about the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. She explained that the purpose of the chaplet is threefold: to obtain mercy, to trust in Christ's mercy, and to show mercy in others. Later that year, she wrote the rules for a new contemplative religious congregation devoted to the Divine Mercy. However, when she discussed this with her superiors the following January, she was reminded that she was perpetually vowed to her current congregation. She was transferred to Walendów, southwest of Warsaw. She wrote that Jesus told her, "My daughter, do whatever is within your power to spread devotion to my divine mercy. I will make up for what you lack." In 1936, Sopoćko wrote the first brochure on the Divine Mercy devotion. He sent copies to Kowalska in Warsaw and eventually became the main promoter of her revelations. Later that year, Kowalska became ill again with what was speculated as tuberculosis. She was moved to the sanatorium in Prądnik, Kraków. She continued to spend much time in prayer in reciting the chaplet and praying for the conversion of sinners. In March 1937, Kowalska wrote in her diary that she had a vision that the Feast of the Divine Mercy would be celebrated in her local chapel and would be attended by large crowds, and also that the same celebration would be held in Rome, attended by the Pope. In November 1937, a pamphlet was published with the title King of Mercy. The pamphlet included the chaplet, the novena, and the litany of the Divine Mercy, and the Divine Mercy image on the cover, with the quote, "Jesus, I trust in you." Kowalska died at the age of 33 on October 5, 1938 in Kraków. She was buried 2 days later and now rests at Krakow's Basilica of Divine Mercy. Before her death, she asked for prayers as the world was about to go to war. Soon after World War II erupted, Sopoćko went into hiding. He wrote the constitution for the congregation and helped with the formation of what is now the Congregation of the Sisters of the Divine Mercy. The war slowed down the Divine Mercy ministry, but by 1951, there were 150 Divine Mercy centers in Poland. On April 5, 1983, Pope John Paul II beatified her. 8 years later, on April 30, 2000, he canonized her. After her canonization, the Church celebrated the Sunday after Easter as the Divine Mercy Sunday. This celebration honors the profound gift of God's mercy revealed through Jesus Christ. Kowalska's diary is the only mystical text composed in Polish. The handwritten pages of Kowalska's diary turned into about 700 printed pages, published as the book Diary, Divine Mercy in My Soul. Today, there are millions of people all over the world who are devotees of the Divine Mercy. Thank you for watching. Have you started a devotion to the Divine Mercy? Why or why not? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Please help us spread the good word by liking and subscribing. Thank you.